Member of Parliament for Wa West. He has been with the police service. Let's bring in Adib Saani now, a security analyst. And because we had to let go of Lanshene Tobu, I couldn't run this by him. He had to go. But I saw a comment on our Facebook live stream. He is saying civilians should use the security procedure, but here is the case where when you take your issues through the right channels, nothing is done. I want you to look at all of these occurrences. We've had cause to deliberate with you on some of them. Now this has happened. What is the trigger? Do you agree with Lanshene Tobu? And how do you react to those who say that when you go through the right channels in dealing with your issues, the police does nothing about it, and so now the resort is to these other extreme measures? Adib.
Well, I think it is a plethora of issues that comes together to form a cocktail that we are seeing blow out in our face. It is safe to say that there appears to be a breakdown in trust, confidence, and communication between civilians on one hand and the police. And that, I must say, is disturbing. However, one of the reasons we've gotten to where we are today is the lack of confidence in the justice system. Because in the past, there's been a number of cases in which police have allegedly misconducted themselves. They've behaved unprofessionally. And by the way, that is no justification for any act of aggression against a police officer. I'm not seeking to rationalize any such behavior, but it's just to put our discussion in context. And when they go through the so-called right process of procedure, nothing comes out of it. And I can give you a number of cases. One of it involved a gentleman who was coming from a nature's call in Kumasi, to be specific, Kofum, some years ago. I understand there were some skirmishes. However, he had nothing to do with what was going on. He was allegedly beaten by the police. He died. And according to the autopsy report, he died of a heart attack, and that was the end of the case. Now we can talk about the multimedia journalist, Latif, who was allegedly assaulted. To date, we are yet to find closure to the issue. And it's quite obvious that nobody is ready for a settlement. They wanted to go through the process. So be it. There was also a case involving some Ghanaian Times reporters, which included a pregnant
woman. I remember.
Good. They were allegedly assaulted. And not too long ago, somewhere, I think in the western or central region, a journalist went to take pictures of some accidented cars parked at the police station. And he was also allegedly attacked. Then there was this other one in which a journalistic instinct kicked in, and he took picture of a man in cuffs eating at a chop bar. And he was also assaulted. So you see, all of these without repercussions, without accountability, is what is making a lot of Ghanaians feel that, hey, we cannot trust the police to investigate the police. And I couldn't have agreed with Lanshene more. We need an independent police complaints commission if really we are committed to restoring that trust and confidence the people have in the police. Because quite obviously, what is happening now is as a result of the breakdown of that trust and confidence. And in what we call the 9 pillar principles of modern day policing, Supo has touched a bit of it, which was propounded by Sir Robert Peel, the founder of Metropolitan Policing and who is best known as the father of modern day policing. He propounded some 9 theories about how policing should be done. And the central theme for those 9 theories is based on the fact that without the civilians, the police cannot fulfill their mandate. And the civilians should see the police as having been authorized by them to do a job on their behalf. And it also categorically states that the more force you use in certain situations, the less you're likely to have the people cooperate with you. So as much as the police can, they should use less force, which, by the way, should be proportional to the threats and not overly exaggerated, and you would have the people who operate with you. But today, is that what we see? And I must say that is really disturbing, because if care is not taken, very soon we might be talking about a life lost as a result of this breakdown. So this is time for us to work to improve the status quo. If not, we might be heading towards a very dangerous path.
Just hold for me. Let me bring in Justin Teriwaja. He's a legal practitioner. He joins us via the phone lines. Mr. Teriwaja, so what do you make of these latest happenings from the legal angle and from the security standpoint? Are we losing the plot?
From the legal angle, in fact, the two of them are taking the wind out of my sails. Adib Saani just mentioned the issue of lack of confidence in the criminal justice delivery system, and also lack of confidence in holding police accountable, and that's what he both of them talked about, the issue of the independent police complaints.
So literally, they have stressed those important points, but open our eyes, per the law. These actions of civilians, we know that when these people who are service operatives wear their clothes, it appears, if I hear correctly. Do we have Justin? It appears we've lost Mr. Teriwaja there. I wanted to find out from the legal end of things what power these people are clothed with and how civilians, per the law, should interact with them, and whether, these actions taken in the right context, what measures, how they can be dealt with. But let me come back to Adib Saani. So we've got to this point where it appears we're losing our respect for the black or the navy blue of our police officers, and even in some instances, the camouflage of our military officials. I remember, I've forgotten whether it's Suleiman Abrahima this morning or Lanshini Tobu, who spoke about the fact that the political element, I think it was Suleiman Abrahima, the political elements in there are becoming problematic to deal with because there's a lot of infiltration from the parties in power. How do we deal with that situation? We keep talking about it. Is there any end in sight?
Yeah, I think Honorable Lashini touched on that too. You see, we need to unmarry, so to speak, politics from mainstream security, because the moment you bring it together, you dilute, you compromise security in the first place. And I think this draws us back to the issue of recruitment. Unfortunately, it is alleged that some people are able to get through just by virtue of their membership of a political party. And this, I must say, cuts across the political divide. The protocol list is destroying the police service. The protocol list is destroying the police service, and it is compromising them. And until we address that, and this is even on the back of what happened some few years ago, in which some persons were recruited, they were made to go through the process only for us to get to know, just as they were about to finish the training, that the certificates they provided were not authentic. So, Benjamin, if you are not able to do something as basic as confirming the authenticity of certificates provided by potential recruits, how much more can you do? Do we do backgrounds, their criminal history? Do we take the trouble to go back to their alma mater and ascertain what they are?
But to be fair on that angle, you know that many of our tertiary institutions, for example, they would take you on your word, accept you based on what evidence you presented. But like the University of Ghana, my alma mater, over the coming months or over the months when you've been enrolled, they will still be checking. And when they find out that your documentation is incorrect, then they suspend your admission and the right processes follow. You get it? Isn't it saying that is happening in the police? Is that wrong?
No, what I'm saying is before the recruitment happens, All of these should be done. For crying out loud, this is a security service. Okay, if care is not taken, you recruit the wrong persons who might end up giving critical information to the criminals. All right, so there is no room for mediocrity. All of these should be satisfactory, including the backgrounds. What he used to be in the past. Was he a petty criminal? Was he a pickpocket? All of these. But these days, with just a protocol, what we call it, notes, people are able to get through. And that, I must say, is worrying. And this is what is adding to, because you are growing up in a community with certain individuals, you know each other's attitudes, you know the kind of person A is. The next minute, A is a police officer. What would your perceptions be about the police? Okay, so I think for us to be able to address this, we have to be holistic, we have to be multidimensional, and we need to look at it from the short to medium to long term to be able to deal with it. The training regime also comes to play, Akako. What training do we give them? Is it all about the guns? Can the police fulfill their mandate effectively without holding a rifle? What democratic police principles do we instill in these officers? I think this is important, because if you have a police institution without accountability, you're bound to have resistance invariably from the civilian population. So these are very important issues we really need to take into consideration. The issue of sensitivity training as well, you know, when the way you are even stopped in traffic, my friend, stop, you know, on top of his voice. When you go to other jurisdictions, if you are stopped, excuse me, sir, excuse me, ma'am, vehicle registration and license. And he runs it through the system. If you have no issue, have a nice day. But in Ghana, even if you ask questions, it becomes a problem, because you think you know too much. And sometimes you are hauled to the police station and they ensure that they waste the whole day. I'm not opining that all officers are like that. We have refined, very committed, selfless, patriotic officers who want to do their work, okay? But they find themselves within a certain body that is not encouraging enough to get them to do their work. As a result, you have cases of good officers go bad because they found themselves within that bad group. And that is also a major cause for concern.
Hold for me, Adib. Let me bring in Mr. Terry Waja. The connection, unfortunately, failed earlier. Our apologies for that. I was posing the question about the legal dimensions of the power that these security operatives are clothed with, and how civilians, per the law, should engage them. I just want you to educate all of us so that people know, in dealing with security operatives, this is what we should do. And what should the security operatives also do in dealing with civilians?
Okay, thank you. It's pretty much a straightforward matter. The police are empowered by law to stop people, arrest, search, and prosecute if they get evidence that the person or persons have committed any crime. And so there's the need for the public to cooperate with them. In fact, the resistant arrest in itself is even a crime, assuming that you are innocent. You are squeaky clean and you believe you have done nothing. Even if the police stop you and they arrest you and you believe you are innocent, you still have to comply. So resisting to the point of trying to seize the weapon of a police officer, is something to the limit. It's just unacceptable. And to that extent, if a policeman ends up hurting you, you have caused it, because then you are resisting arrest in actual fact. And what I saw there, that the policeman was virtually being, so many people setting upon him and almost to the point of strangling him, is just unacceptable. And I think it is a matter that borders on ignorance of those people, because this was a situation where they were being filmed on camera, and yet they persisted in doing what they were doing with careless abandon. And when I saw videos like that, I was like, no, these people are clearly ignorant as to where their rights begin and end. And the other video I saw was about police assistants being lashed with sticks and beaten in all directions to solve. And, you know, this is not a policeman strictly speaking. Now, you widen the lens, and you see that they even extend it to the military officers. We have Major Mahama, who is dead now, may his soul rest in peace. We have the incident at Ashaiman. And you see that it is it's a trend in the country for now that people take the law into their own hands. The other speakers have talked about the confidence in the police, but I think it goes beyond confidence in the police. Because if you look at it, it's not limited to police-civilian interaction. It goes beyond that. And there are even instances of lynching of ordinary people on the streets. You know, so I think it is a canker in our society that needs to be looked at. Education, yes, and in all of this, we don't even hear the institution of state per the Constitution that is in charge of educating the masses on issues like that. That is NCCE. Where is NCCE in this? Because they are supposed to be educating the masses on some of these things. We don't see them. I understand they are not well resourced, but what at all are they doing in issues like that? Because education of the public is important in some of these, so they know where their rights begin and where their rights end, and how to interact with the police and other security services in this. So even the military, sometimes when people speak, they are like, okay, have confidence in the military, but not the police. But the military are not left out, as we are seeing now. So it goes beyond the police, and I think we should widen our lenses and look at the real problem. For me, I think one, ignorance and illiteracy are some of the factors, and then secondly, confidence in the justice delivery system. Be it reporting police and other security services for administrative disciplinary trial or investigation leading to trial and accountability. How well is that being done? There's a question mark there. And that is where there's talk of the Independent Police Complaints Commission. But I think even if we go further, it should go beyond that to police governance. Police governance in the sense of who are the commanders at the various levels. At the station level, where you have a station, an inspector who is in charge of the station officer at the police station. You move to the district level, you have the district commander, the divisional, the regional, and up to IGP. Now, if you look at it from that angle, you see that it is so much interfered with by people who wield power in various ways. So sometimes the police, yes, we can blame them, but they may arrest someone, investigations are going on, and then calls by powerful people are made to thwart investigations or to influence investigations negatively. And policemen who do not play along sometimes are punished. I mean, these are facts. They may be punished by negative transfers in various ways. Some are even taken off cases. I'm a former policeman, and I hear stories. You know, so some of these things further undermine confidence in the police. So to what extent are we ready to educate the public and let them understand their rights when they deal with the security services, and even when they deal with ordinary citizens? And then when cases are taken up by the police, how professionally are these cases investigated and handled to the point of prosecution, even in court, and accountability for breaches of the law? You know, and that is where I think we have a big problem in this country. Until we really look ourselves in the mirror and look at the issue of rule of law, where are we found wanting? And where are the weak links in our justice delivery system that we need to plug? We are going nowhere. Until we do that, we are not going anywhere.
Until we do that, we're going nowhere. I'll come to you for your final comments about those loopholes and what can be done about them and how we can get somewhere from where we are now, which, according to you, is a place where we're not going anywhere. But I'll come back to you, Adib. So we've enumerated part of the problems, not all of them, but a lot of them. What then is the way forward to stem the tide of this? Because we saw Axim. We saw the other one where these police assistants were being beaten mercilessly. Now we've seen another incident where a police officer is being strangled. We shouldn't wait for it to happen again. What do we do? How do we forestall similar happenings? Moving on.
Well, first of all, I think we need to build institutional capacity to advance the rule of law. A lot of this is as a result of impunity. There's too much impunity in the system. I mean, people do as they wish and are left off the hook. But if we have the right institutions who have the capacity and the capability to advance the rule of law, I think that helps. And that should work hand in hand with the education bit of it for people to understand the nuances. But if people understand and test the systems, and the systems don't work, then you're back to square zero. So I think this should work hand in hand. The training regime is also extremely important. We keep talking about democratic policing. To what extent is our policing democratic? And the one surest way to achieve that is through the training regime, sensitivity training, how to relate with the communities, and that should tie into community outreach. I mean, sometimes you see police officers patrolling in their pickup trucks. They are near you, yet they are far away from you. So we need to bring policing to the doorsteps of the people. They have to walk on foot, knock on doors, on businesses, ask people if they are okay, what their menacing security challenges are, and what the police can do to improve their services. Let's have that communication channel in which people can easily reach out to the police to discuss everyday issues, including how the people themselves can help the police. And this also ties us down to another issue of neighborhood watch. To improve community security, there are some neighborhoods, such as Tesano, Kwashiman, La Paz, Fadama, who have brought themselves together and formed a very robust neighborhood watch. I met them, just that they lack the resources, and they've been working closely with the police. And they would be the conduit between the civilians and the police, and that would definitely foster that unity, that trust and confidence between the two separate entities going forward. But generally, we need to improve accountability, and I still insist the need for the establishment of the Independent Police Complaints Commission if really we are committed to dealing with this situation once and for all.
Adib Saani, thank you so much for having joined the conversation. We're grateful, sir. He is a security analyst. I'll take your final words, sir. Justin.
Okay. Yeah, my final words are these. How can we insulate the police from untoward interference in the performance of their work to ensure that rule of law will prevail? That is the big question for us.
Okay.
It is because people believe that, or people have the perception that if they are patient and will go through the motions with the system, they may not get what they want. And that is why they will lynch other people on the streets. They will lynch even to the point of lynching Major Mahama, and not only the police. So then the issue is, education is one, but apart from education, the education must be reinforced by a system that people can have confidence in. And what we have now is a system where there is so much influence peddling, to the point of the influence peddling influencing who even gets to become a policeman. And so square pegs are put in round holes, all the way up to even police commanders. So to what extent can we as a society prevent this from continuing? If we can nip this in the bud, we should not be having this discussion. We should rather be talking about police using their powers beyond what is permitted by law, like you see in advanced democracies, that people cry foul when the police exceed their limits. We should not have a situation where ordinary people turn on the police and then the police are now being victimized by ordinary people. It's like a rat chasing a cat. I mean, this shouldn't happen. So we should be able to elevate our police to a certain pedestal where it commands respect, and the respect is reinforced by the structure in which the police operates, and then backed by education. And I think this is where our NCCE should be resourced and made to take the front seat, because I don't see them at all. We only hear once in a while somebody is appointed to NCC, and that's all. And that news flash, that's all. You don't hear anything about their activities until another time there's an appointment made there. So we really have to look at ourselves in the mirror,
right,
find out where our problems are, and then solve them as a people. Else, all of this will just be a talk shop, and we keep talking every now and then. I remember when Honorable Peter Tobu was talking about, he went all the way back to the 1990s. So these are the current problems. They keep coming. People attack the police. We talk, we go to sleep, and then it comes again. It cycles out, and it doesn't help.
Justin, thank you so much for having joined the conversation, and we're grateful for your time, sir. That is Justin Poivra Terewaja. He's a legal practitioner. So we've had on this conversation, we've had Superintendent Peter Lansheni Tobu, retired, of course, Member of Parliament for Wawes. We also had Adib Saani, a security analyst, and Justin Poivra Terewaja, a legal practitioner. Hopefully you've enjoyed this conversation, but it's an eye-opener for all of us, and I hope we'll all take stock of what we have to do, whether you're in uniform as a police officer or other official of state, or you're a civilian. We all have to play our role to safeguard the security we enjoy in Ghana. Well, coming up next, today being a Monday, as promised, we're hitting the streets, we're hitting the office of Cecil Gabra. It's all about Drive Safe up next.